She was an actress, she's not anymore. You know, she basically travels around the world smiling and making sort of, happy faces and meeting people.
They once bragged that Nigeria was their second home. But in May 2025, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs delivered a reply so blunt, it could have been carved in stone. Request denied. Don't come back. Newspapers framed it as a diplomatic drive-by. Social feeds lit up with memes of slamming gates. For Harry and Meghan, the message was colder than any British winter. The world is done playing royal make-believe. The rejection wasn't just a scheduling conflict. It was a warning shot from one of Africa's biggest economies, an economy that had once let Netflix crews roam its schools and stadiums for Sussex photo ops. If that door could shut so loudly, what other doors were already swinging shut behind the scenes? Stick around, because the dominoes that fell next stretched from Abuja to Hollywood.
Just went off on these, what did she call them? Queen's husband was dying, and she went on Oprah and suggested one or both of them are raging racists. She couldn't have cared less. She doesn't care about anyone other than herself, and I include Harry in that. She cares about her image. That's why she's there.
Roll back 12 months. Cameras flashed, motorcades parted Lagos traffic, and Meghan cycled through wardrobe changes faster than the equatorial sun could set. Officially, it was a private humanitarian visit. In practice, it looked exactly like a state tour, minus one critical ingredient: state approval. Britain's High Commission reminded reporters that the Sussexes were private citizens, not emissaries of King Charles. Meanwhile, Nigerian taxpayers footed the six-figure security bill even as civil service salaries sat in arrears. Radio call-ins erupted. Why bankroll a Hollywood-grade entourage when nurses were waiting months for back pay? It might have stayed a grumble if not for one viral mic drop. Meghan's boast that a commercial DNA kit proved she was 43% Nigerian. For her, it felt like a heartfelt embrace. For many scholars,
like, she gets this platform, she gets on this stage, and instead of saying, what a beautiful country you have, I'm so blessed to be here, I am courageous, I am brave, like, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Lady, you sound crazy.
It sounded like genetic cosplay, ancestry compressed into a clickbait percentage. Within hours, Professor Chika Anyanwu blasted the soundbite as identity speedrunning. Think centuries of lineage swapped for a lab result bar graph. Even Thomas Markle piled on, I always thought she was 100% Californian. The quote raced across tabloids like wildfire in Harmattan winds, but the harsher backlash came at home. Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, used a national address to scold Western celebs who fly in, bare shoulders, collect hashtags, then exit stage left. She never named Meghan, but every listener read between the lines. Overnight, 43% became a punchline. Memes showed pie charts with 43% Nigeria, 57% main character energy. Yet behind the jokes lurked anger.
Meghan Markle and Prince Harry may no longer be working royals, but their recent trip to Nigeria looked very much like a royal tour of their own.
Culture isn't a costume you switch at the airport lounge. As the applause cooled, fiscal tallies heated up. One leaked invoice showed armored SUVs and hotel suites, totaling more than the annual budget of a rural health clinic. A senior finance official reportedly labeled the visit celebrity colonialism. Very expensive, zero ROI. Even worse, no one could answer the simplest question: who exactly were they representing? Not the UK. London had issued no mandate. Not Nigeria. Its cultural ministries learned about the itinerary from Twitter threads. When journalists pressed for clarity, Sussex spokespeople spoke in circles about global impact and shared humanity, phrases that sounded lofty but invoiced concrete cash. The longer receipts circulated, the more the trip looked like a high-budget influencer collab. Content first, community second. And if the trip was really a Netflix set in disguise, then Nigeria had just funded someone else's streaming special.
Meghan really is a great tool for representing a modern royal family, but not long after that tour did Meghan sort of do her doe-eyed crying to the camera and say, nobody knows how hard it is. And then off they went to Canada, then America, and have decided really that they miss it and clearly want to continue doing it. So have flown.
Fast forward to spring 2025. Sussex advisors quietly floated plans for Nigeria 2.0. Bigger venues, Invictus tie-ins, fresh documentary angles. They expected another red carpet. Instead, they received a letter stamped by the ministry's crest. The Federal Republic sees no necessity for a subsequent visit at this time. No back-channel loopholes, no ceremonial phrasing, just a flat no. Sources inside Abuja say cultural coalitions had already lobbied hard. No more Sussex side doors. If Harry and Meghan want to set foot again, they'd need to enter like any other private citizen. Visa line, customs queue, and definitely no blue light escorts. One official summed it up. We hosted a show last time. We're not staging a sequel. Bad news travels. Within a week, Netflix's original content board shelved the Africa Arc project, tentatively titled Diaspora Dreams.
For one reason, to get their faces back on camera and to improve their image. They want people to think well of them, so they decide you know what they really need? Us. What they need is us.
Legal flagged reputational risk. Finance worried about subscriber blowback in West Africa. An exec leaked the verdict to Page 6. Not worth the heat. Suddenly, the Tinseltown phones went silent. Agencies whispered the dirtiest Hollywood label. Uninsurable. Brands that once craved a Sussex endorsement hushed campaigns, fearing the next headline would drown their marketing spend. One talent rep's blunt email made its way to industry gossip pages. They bring attention, but it's the wrong kind. Too hot, too messy. In a town built on optics, that single word, uninsurable, is a scarlet letter. Projects stall, budgets vaporize, and soon even charity galas start misplacing invitations. Across the Atlantic, British commentators seized the moment.
For the basketball court, I just think that all they do is talk, and very little action.
If Nigeria could reject a royal tour, why was His Majesty still allowing the titles Duke and Duchess to buoy a rebranding machine? Tabloid front pages screamed for a parliamentary debate on title stripping. Palace aides, normally silent, leaked a 4-word lament. It drains the crown. Inside Team Sussex, the vibe was pure turbulence. Staff turnover, PR firm shopping, frantic narrative resets. But every reset collided with a fresh algorithm of public fatigue. Even stans on Twitter started muting Sussex hashtags. The drama was devouring its own audience. By summer 2025,
Harry and Meghan, I don't know if this is a royal tour. They're not working royals, are they? But they're not politicians or pop stars. What exactly are they doing touring Nigeria in the first place, Kinsey?
Speak Your Mind podcasts, once eager for Sussex soundbites, had shifted to eye-roll segments. Streaming analytics showed their past specials bottoming out in rewatch rates. Worse, new pitches triggered legal reviews before creative meetings. Reputation had become liability. Beyoncé's inner circle. Radio silent. High-profile NGOs, opting for less controversial ambassadors. An insider at Global Citizen hinted that board members needed guarantees the cause doesn't drown inside scandals. Guarantees Harry and Meghan could no longer give.
Many Nigerians were thinking, well, this is a bit of a waste of public money. This is not like we're courting a state that can help us with resources. This is kind of like a faux royal couple that are there to kind of boost their images.
Even Invictus, Harry's flagship cause, saw partner corporations quietly ring-fence budgets. Support the vets, yes, but maybe with a lower-key spokesperson this cycle. Every door that closed echoed Nigeria's initial slam. Relevance, like royal privilege, is a currency that devalues quickly once markets lose faith. So here we stand, a flat rejection from a country they championed, a mothballed Netflix deal, Hollywood whispering uninsurable, tabloids sharpening quills for a title-stripping brawl, and fan fatigue turning likes into scroll-bys. Harry and Meghan broke from the palace to write their own myth, but myths need believers. Without government backing,
you look lovely.
Thank you, so do you.
Before we get into it,
studio money or public goodwill, the Sussex brand is a stage with dimming lights, a production that can't afford another flop. Was Nigeria's no the wake-up bell that finally ends the performance? Or will the Sussexes spin a new narrative, convince the next audience and cue another act? The applause meter is stalling. And in showbiz, as in monarchy, silence is fatal. Now it's your turn. Are Harry and Meghan casualties of a ruthless media cycle, or architects of their own downfall? Drop your take below, smash that like if you're still buckled in, and subscribe so you never miss the twists the mainstream glosses over. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and remember, never mistake a photo op for a promise.